Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the podcast. And today's episode is going to be about Doctor Who. Because this month it's the start of the new series of Doctor Who. But as we're talking now, we don't know anything that's going to happen. Or we don't know when the episodes are out yet. So we might be speaking, and the first episode might have been out already, or it might not even started yet. That's the how time travel works, I guess. But yeah, so for May, there's going to be some Doctor Who episodes. There may not be, maybe not all Doctor Who episodes. They might have one that's not. Maybe someone's sharing their story around Crohn's or something like that. It's going to be kind of a month where we don't know what's going to happen. So, but yeah, today's episode is going to be about Doctor Who. Like last week's episode. But today, it's gonna be really fun. So, James, if you don't mind just doing a little introduction of yourself, just to let people know who you are.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So I'm James Hambis, and myself and this gentleman here, we met through TikTok, actually. I've been following his content for a very, very long time. And I've been a Doctor Who fan ever since the revival back in 2005. And since then, I've not stopped watching ever since. And in the last sort of couple of years, I've been getting a bit more into posting a bit on TikTok and following other Doctor Who creators on TikTok. And that's how we came to meet. And I'm very, very honored to be part of your part of your podcast, and I can't even speak. Yeah,
Yeah, welcome to the club.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So, like you said, you haven't stopped watching Doctor Who since like 2005.
Mhm.
Do you think that's a good thing that you haven't stopped watching it?
Well, definitely, because it has been my favorite show that I've ever watched since childhood. And even if there's been a few episodes which I perhaps haven't enjoyed, it's still something that I've stuck through with throughout. And I know that there's a lot of episodes in particular that um, a large amount of people say perhaps didn't enjoy, but I've always kept watching it anyways, just to make sure that I've kept on top of it and to make sure I know what's going on. And it's a show which I think has a fantastic community of fans, and it's something that really, I really enjoy being a part of.
Yeah, it's very good because there's so many different ways about the show, um, and how many people it impacts like around the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So so the first episode would have been Rose, 2005.
Mhm.
Was it something about that episode that made you think I'm gonna watch more of like Doctor Who after that, like the first episode?
Well, the way it was that the first episode that I watched, it wasn't actually Rose, it was a couple of episodes after that. And what had happened was is that I saw on the TV guide, this is me, I mean, 2005, I would have been 8 years old, and Doctor Who was quite a regular occurrence. And I noticed that there was a lot of talk about Doctor Who. And I joined in. The first episode I ever watched, I clicked onto it, and it was halfway through Aliens of London with the Slitheen. And I remember looking at the Slitheen, and that was one of the big sort of things that made me then stick around. I was like, oh, they're in the next episode as well. I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch that. So that was where the journey really began for me, through those two episodes. I mean, obviously, since then, I then went back and watched the episodes prior, with starting from Rose, and it went on from there. And I really like Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. I thought he played him really well. Back then, I didn't have anything to compare it to, but it just appealed to me so much at that time, and I was like, okay, let's stick this out. Let's carry on watching this. So I made a point of watching it every Saturday, and then that leads me on to, I guess, where we are now.
You're back to Saturdays again. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that I'm glad about, because when it was a Sunday, even though Doctor Who for me has always been like a nice sort of escape from reality, when it's a Sunday night, I'm watching Doctor Who, but then in the back of my mind, it also made me think it's Sunday night. That means I've got to get up early for work tomorrow. So I kind of built that association up for a while. Yeah.
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 I agree. I think it's Saturdays. It shouldn't have been a Sunday in the first place, really.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I don't know if it had anything to do with viewing figures that it had to go to Sunday because it wasn't good
Mm.
enough to be on a Saturday anymore. But um, yeah, it just I found it quite depressing for it to be on a Sunday. um, I know Sundays are probably more chill days than Saturdays. Saturdays are probably pretty hectic, but
Mm.
I don't know. I always remember. I have a really good memory of Matt Smith with the Flesh episode. Um,
Yes.
like with the Flesh ones, because I didn't like it for the reason 'cause I was just scared as when I was at that age.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I always remember I had a barbecue that day, and like my family was saying, "Come out and socialise. Watch Doctor Who tomorrow. Record it." I was like, "No, I have to watch it now because if
Yeah.
I go on my phone, I'm just gonna get told." That's the
That's
problem.
it.
If you don't watch Doctor Who when it's on,
Yeah.
and you go on social media, well, just you can know everything now.
That's it. And I think there's only so long you can go without watching it before it's gonna get spoiled for you anyway. So yeah, if I've kind of accepted that if I can't watch it on that particular night where it airs live, then leaks are gonna bleed through on Twitter or whatever it is that I use anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Twitter is the worst for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep saying I'm gonna delete Twitter and I never do.
No, I don't either. I
Yeah.
mean, it's probably the least social media that I use.
Yeah, me too.
Um, like I, I don't have many. Well, I have friends on there, but not as much as like Instagram or TikTok. I just repost really sometimes. Just go on there if it's Doctor Who
Yeah.
related. Just repost it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the only thing is about that is like now because series are filmed in a year in advance. Well, we just know like things already. Um,
Yeah.
well, not maybe not the story, but we know. I don't
Mm.
know. We know Miss Flood's going to be in it, or there's going to be
Yeah.
new people in it. But that is good and bad. It's good because we just know we're not going to wait 2 years for the next series. But
Hmm.
it can be bad because like people just make accusations and stuff this is gonna happen because this person's not in it now, or they've left, or they haven't
Yeah.
left. And it can be annoying, but at least you're getting stuff about Doctor Who all the time.
That's it. And I think that it's the pros and cons, isn't it? Because this is the first time I think Doctor Who has been so far ahead of schedule in terms of filming and writing. And it was like you had the story, what was it, a good couple of weeks ago, like with the Millie Gibson situation. And and like you said, there was accusations going on and there was a lot of speculation as to what happened.
Mm.
That's I guess that's really the downside because obviously you're jumping so far ahead, so you know that someone's not going to be in it by the time you get to the next series. So hopefully, like her exit isn't going to be something that was supposed to be kept secret, and it's a more and it's an ending that isn't supposed to be of much shock value,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
I mean, it's not surprising when I saw it. You might be a bit shocked, but it's not surprising that she leave. I mean, we don't even know that she's leaving. That's the thing. Like this other
Ah,
person's in it, but we
mhm.
don't know. Millie Gibson might be in it too. Like
Yeah.
like there's rumors. Well, there's always rumors, but we don't
Mm.
believe them all the time. Like what someone told me the other day that a theory of theirs that hasn't gone around a lot. So what they think is going to happen, or what they want to happen. So what they think is that Ruby, well, this next series we'll find out who Ruby is because if Ruby is going to leave, surely that storyline will be resolved by the end of the series. So we'll find out who Ruby is,
Yeah.
and if she potentially is a Time Lord, she regenerate into that the Raider. Um, Sethu. Um, so
Oh,
that
that's
so
interesting.
so that it still could be Ruby, but
Mm,
just regenerated. Um, or she's just has done a series. She's going to go away, like Russell has done before. Like
mm,
back in the day, Donna did a series,
yep,
Rose done a series, Martha did a series. They all done one series. And
yep,
it's not happened before. So he might be doing the same thing. So if it's the same shoot, he does three series. So
yeah.
this new if they are two separate people. So Ruby's on the first series, this Raider's doing the next series, and then someone totally different is coming in the last, and then have the whole big finale, kind of a David Tennant style of series, where you have all these different people in it
Mm,
and all come together at the
yeah.
end. Um,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
wonder if we get essentially a remake of Journey's End. Everyone
maybe,
in the TARDIS.
yeah. I think I think it's good. I don't think like there's so many news outlets putting like it's been sacked or stuff like that. I mean, it's just all blown out of proportion, and I have to feel for Millie Gibson because after when all this was going down, she's just on holiday. She's just enjoying herself, trying to get away.
Uh,
But
Typical.
yeah, that's the thing when you're that famous and you're actor and
Mm,
it's hard. It's hard to be on social media, which is why not many doctors are. Like David Tennant isn't, Matt Smith isn't, Peter Capaldi isn't, Jodie Whittaker isn't. Shoot, he is. First
yeah.
time since Chris um, Eck. They're the only new Who doctors that are on,
Mm,
like maybe Instagram or something.
yeah. So
Um, and they might have been on it prior. Maybe being in a top show like Doctor Who, because you just know you're gonna get good comments and bad comments, but you could get loads of
yeah,
comments. Um,
it's time. Yeah,
but but who knows? We'll find out, I guess.
yeah. I'm just hoping there's not going to be too much spoil for.
No. Do you
Yeah.
do you like at the end of an episode when it says next time when you get a little preview of next week's episode? Do you like seeing that at the end?
It depends. If it's a two-parter episode, then yes. I don't and I guess when there's a finale coming up, like a little snippet and stuff like that is quite nice.
Mm.
But when they do the next time, generally it's quite short, isn't it? So I think as long as it's kept that way and it's not a full-blown trailer of an episode, which lasts like say 30 seconds to a minute long, and that's fine. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem whether they kept that or not, really. I personally prefer that things are spoiled as least as possible, but to get the odd little snippet, a few little still images and stuff like that is something that I quite like. Yeah,
Mm.
little teasers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed. I like them. Yeah, they were
yeah,
always nice to see. It's only about
yeah.
10-15 seconds normally, isn't it?
That's it. And it's to get, and then I think they're kind of also there not just for the big fans like yourself and me, they're also there, I think, for like the casual viewer as well, who maybe perhaps doesn't watch Doctor Who every week. It's like, right, we're going to hook you in now. We're going to show you a little bit the next episode, and then we're going to make sure you come back next week and watch the next one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, definitely.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite a series that you like? Um, oh,
I would say, and this may be biased from my childhood, but I really liked series two, David Tennant's first series.
yeah,
Um, I would say series four comes close with that as well. Um, series two, I think, was the one which really sort of cemented the fact that I was going to be a big Doctor Who fan. Series one was obviously my first
yeah,
um, taste into it. Series two, I loved the Cybermen episodes, Rise of the Cybermen, Age of Steel. They probably are in my top five favorite episodes of all time.
yeah, yeah.
I liked Army of Ghosts, Doomsday. I liked the New Earth with New York. I loved that as well. The Idiot's Lantern. The one with about during the coronation, and you had the
Oh, yeah.
wire. Loves that one. Yep.
I am talking.
And I'm not listening.
Yeah, yeah. I did like that.
Oh,
Did like that.
oh, that's brilliant. What about
Um,
you? What's your favorite?
my favorite is series four. Um, I like series four. Um, it would go. My favorites would go three, four, five. Um, in that, not in that order.
Yeah,
Maybe. I did like series five though. Series
yeah.
five. I thought. I thought when Day 10 left, I thought, oh, what's gonna happen now?
Mm,
Gone.
yeah,
Like the Doctor is gone. Not that any other Doctor is not a Doctor, but he was a
yeah,
Doctor for a long time. And I thought the only Doctor I've cried to, I cried
yeah,
when he regenerated. I didn't cry with Matt. People always say Matt's regeneration was sad. I mean, it was, but it was sad when he was doing the like before he did that against the Daleks and destroying him with his energy, and I didn't
yeah,
find it was as sad when he was talking to himself, and I just felt because the regeneration was just a sneeze. Um,
yeah,
I actually felt Peter Capaldi's regeneration was a lot better because
yeah,
even though I'm not a big fan of having long speeches in a regeneration scene, I just think it should be stay a little and you're gone. But I did
yeah,
like it a lot. I did like his regeneration speech a lot because I have massive credit to Peter Capaldi for doing that because that must have been hard to do that and remember all the lines from what he was saying
yeah.
there. Uh, uh,
That's it. Yeah, that was quite a big speech, and like he does sort of like go off on like a few tangents, doesn't he? But like it kind of all works quite nicely. And I think because especially with his doctor, because in his timeline, because he was in the confession there when with the events of Heaven Sent, he'd been, he'd suddenly jumped from being how many years old? Like, did you say like over 2000 when like
yeah.
in Deep Breath? And then by the time we got to Twice Upon a Time, wasn't it over 2 billion? Something like that? Like, am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah.
So, like, from the Doctor's timeline, that was a very long regeneration. So I think it kind of was fitting that he had a speech like that because he was changing for the first time in a long time and he'd been putting off changing in that whole episode because he was like, I don't want to change, I don't want to change. And then he kind of accepted it in the end.
Yeah, I did like that Christmas episode.
Yeah.
The one with David Bradley. Um,
Yeah.
that was a
That
good
was
one.
one of my favorite Christmas episodes.
It was a good one, but I think now they've started something. They've started. The Doctor has not like with Jodie. I don't think regeneration should be at Christmas anymore. I just feel like they should
Mm.
be before it, like Jodie's was. I think it was
Yeah.
in October because I just feel like Christmas is a happy time, and when they
Yeah.
regenerate, it's just sad.
Yeah. You spend that whole you watch the Christmas episode, but you're kind of waiting for that moment when they're going to regenerate. Whereas it's like with the Christmas special that we've just had, the Church on Ruby Road, it was a bit more upbeat, it was a bit more cheerful, it
Mhm.
was much more positive. And but for me, it's although this is definitely going to be impossible to do, but in in my own world, I would love it if one day they somehow managed to find a way that they could do a complete surprise regeneration without anyone knowing. It would be almost impossible to keep it under wraps. But if they pulled that off one day, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I, I
Yeah.
I think that's all. I always want that. I want to not know who it. I want them to do it where you don't even know who the next Doctor's gonna be. Um,
Yes,
and
exactly. Yeah.
regenerate them. But it's possible. They could just do the whole series in the studio.
Mm.
Why go outside? I know there's a few series scenes you can do outside, but Why
Yeah.
not? Pretend they're shooting some other show or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's it.
like what they could have done, they could have been like, Shooty Gat was doing, he's doing filming another series of Sex Education when they're not, but just act
Yeah.
like they are, and,
Yeah.
it'd be cool. But I don't think it's going to happen, um,
No.
because when I spoke with Paul McGann, we was talking about that, and he was like, we can't do that now. Like, when um when his Night of the Doctor came out, it was spoiled online. It was originally supposed to come out on the 23rd, but
Hmm.
it came out on his birthday. So I think Stephen Moffat he messaged him saying we've got to put it out early. There's leaks going out online. We've got to do it.
Mm.
So I'm going to release it on your birthday. um, so that's the problem with leaks. Everyone wants to see it. Everyone wants to
Yeah.
go filming it. Um, no one can wait. So I don't think that will ever be possible, but hopefully one day,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. I guess that's the burden with social media, isn't it? Like, there's no avoiding it.
No,
Yeah. Once someone's posted it, that's it.
yeah, they've
Mm.
seen it. They've seen it, and it's everywhere now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but like with series two, I like series two, but I also don't like series two. Um,
Mm.
the reason I don't like it is I like the whole, I like the stories, I like the adventures in it,
Yeah.
but the problem I have with it is that they all felt to me, um, we didn't know where we was leading in the end. Like we didn't know. I think it felt to me like kind of separate stories, and then they'll just go in, but and having the Cybermen and Daleks in at the start of it and at the end. So I thought maybe we could have. I think there was too many Daleks, especially the early 2000s. There was too many Daleks. There was too many Cybermen
I
in
agree.
a lot of episodes.
Hmm.
And someone commented on one of when I shared that Matt Smith um thing the other day where he's talking about being the 11th Doctor. Someone commented saying we should have had Matt Smith in the 60th anniversary as well. And my response was, uh, no, we shouldn't have, because that would just have ruined it in a way.
Hmm.
For especially Wobbly Under, if that person was applying, because it wouldn't have been the same. It would have been the 50th repeated. Um,
That's it. Yeah.
and his response was, well, which doesn't make any sense to me. He said, well, wouldn't that just be a repeat of series one and series two with both Dalek finales? And I'm thinking to myself, that's totally different. I mean, like maybe Matt and David could be there, but it'd be a totally different story. But it'd be the same kind of vibe. Uh,
Mm.
I could see Matt and Shooty bounce off each other really well. So I think
Yeah.
Matt should wait for another opportunity, and he'll do it. Him and Shooty. I don't know if you saw, but a while back, I know it's probably a joke, but on the Doctor Who TikTok, that they put a picture of Shooty Gatwa and Matt Smith, and they said Matt Smith and Shooty need a low key adventure in the TARDIS. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
they put that.
Those two would make the perfect anniversary special. I feel like, and that's when Shooty was first announced, and I saw the clips of him through Sex Education. I did think to myself, this is going to be a very Matt Smith-esque Doctor, and I like that. That he, like Matt Smith as the Doctor, was one of my favorites, and I think Shooty has got the right sort of personality, and I think Russ. Well, I mean, based on what we've seen from the Church Road and Half of the Giggle, I think he's given him all the right mannerisms and everything like that to make him one of the greats. And it really wouldn't surprise me if one day in the distant future that is an anniversary special with them too.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
which one though. I mean,
Mm.
maybe towards the end potentially.
Yeah.
Because Matt don't look any older, really.
No, he has seemed to have aged one bit.
Yeah, I guess you can see wrinkles. but not overly.
Hmm.
David, I felt like David Tennant looked older in the 50th anniversary than he'd done in the 60th.
Hmm. I think that was more to I think that was the way they done his hair because in the end like because the 10th Doctor always had his hair up. He was always
Yeah.
spiked up. In the 50th anniversary special, he had it flat. And then the 14th Doctor had it up again. It was yeah, I think he definitely although he had a little bit of stubble, he still looked yeah, he still looked younger.
What? So with the 60th, did you have a favourite episode out of the three?
The giggle for me, I think, steals the show. While I liked Wobbler Yonder, but I think that that was probably let down on the basis that there was so much speculation of, oh, this person's going to appear in it, this person's going to appear in it, or Matt Smith's going to appear in it, or I don't know, Paul McGann, or somebody like that. So everyone was waiting for someone to turn up when that was never the intention. So I think as a standalone episode, that was great. I do think that probably would have been better if that was in like the middle of a series as opposed to an anniversary special.
Mm.
Um, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. The Star Beast was good. I loved the Meep. Um, yeah, so but the Giggle was my favorite.
Yeah, I agree. The giggle was the best out of the
Hmm.
three. I like
Yeah,
them all. I like them all, but I just felt there's certain aspects in the Starbase I didn't like. I liked it as an overall episode, but certain maybe comments in it and certain ways that maybe it went, particularly around the Doctor and Donna, around how that was how it all
yeah.
happened. I just felt not that I didn't feel it's a good idea, but I just felt it went too fast. Like all those time, if they could have done it at the start. So I think it was a bit. I, I,
Mm.
I did like it though. I liked the Star Beast. I liked the Beat the Meep and Rose. I think they were great. Um, Wild Blue Yonder. I liked it, but like it's the same, isn't it? Like around we have all this hype about all these people, but
Mm.
that's not Doctor Who's fault. That is everyone. That's our fault.
That,
That's our
that's
fault.
it. I felt like if nothing was said about that episode, then we'd think of it a lot more higher.
Hmm.
But I think because everyone was expecting something to happen, it kind of took a little bit of it took a bit off it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, Matt Smith is gonna be in it. There's all that before this episode, like everyone's showing Peter Capaldi and Matt Smith are gonna be the villains
They
of the
they're
episode.
keeping it so quiet, which means that there has to be someone in it.
Yeah. I think Russell T Davis did say he's not a fan of multi-Doctor stories. Um,
Mhm.
um, he said that on one of the watch along things like they done. Um, but he's not a fan of them. But they did have kind of a multi-Doctor with Shooty and David.
Yeah. I'm really glad that they did the regeneration and the giggle earlier and they didn't leave it to right at the end because one of my biggest worries was that they were going to have three straight episodes of David Tennant. They were going to bring shooting right at the very end, and then it would get to May with the new series, and then Shooty kind of has to maybe build up a bit of an audience by himself. And, because I know there was a bit of a spike in the viewing figures with the 60th anniversary. And I know that Russell T Davies kind of wants to retain a lot of um, the viewers. So I think the fact that they went down the route of giving Shooty half the episode of the giggle and to jump straight into the action as well to sort of with the toy maker playing catch with the 14th Doctor as well. I think that that
Mm.
is going to help set things up nicely for the next series, and I think that that's going to help his Doctor out a lot. I think that they got that spot on.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good that it was. I was surprised that I was surprised that he wasn't good. He was in like half of the episode. It virtually was Shooty in the giggle. Um, but the only thing I would say about that episode is I felt like the game to kind of defeat the Time Maker or put him in his box was the ball. I think that was a bit lame. I don't think that it was a bit.
Yeah,
It wasn't the best, was it?
yeah, yeah. That like y- the Doctor's life or the universe is at risk, and the way to settle it is by playing catch.
I mean,
Yeah,
but never concentrated so much on playing catch.
yeah,
But that was funny with Shooty and David
yeah,
bouncing off each other. They did it really well. And the fact that Shooty grew up with David as the Doctor as well, which is
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Um, but another thing, I just felt that giggle felt the 60th anniversary episode for me. The other two felt single episodes that you like you'd get in a series,
Yes, yeah.
and that one was it. The
They
fact,
could have released the Giggle on its own as the 60th anniversary special, and it would have
yeah,
been enough, probably. But obviously, it's great to get the other two.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
good. But I
Mm.
just felt like from the Star Beast, how did the Doctor get his sonic screwdriver? I'm always so curious. I don't know if they're doing it from
Yeah.
the comics, but even still, not everyone's going to read them. Um, so where is this made? Like where I wanted to see. How does he get from on the roof? What did he say after he was saying what? And he gets back in his TARDIS.
Yeah.
Um, so I was very curious of that.
That's it. And based on the reaction to him obviously seeing the new TARDIS at the end of that episode, presumably then that after the regeneration and between the power of the Doctor and the start of the Star Beast, he was still in the 13th Doctor's TARDIS. So then that also does that mean that to get that sonic screwdriver that would have had to have been made by that TARDIS or it's yeah that's just one that's probably going to be one of those things that will never get um told.
Yeah, the funny thing is everyone spends so much money on getting these sonic screwdrivers, 40th Doctor sonic screwdrivers, for it to be used 3 times.
Yeah.
And then everyone can be hunting the 15th Doctor's next.
Yeah. What do you think of that, of the 15th Doctor screwdriver? Because that's obviously a very different design than we've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, at first I thought, no, I'm not getting that.
Mm.
Stick to the 14th. But then I'm like, oh, I've got to get it. Not if I like it or not, just because it's this sonic screwdriver. I got the outfit. Might as well get
Yeah.
that as well. But it's not my favourite. I'm getting. I like the purple on it. That he's talking about. Purple's my favourite colour.
Yeah.
So I like that part of it. But when people tell me it's like a sky remote, I think to myself, where are you looking at this sky remote?
Yeah.
To me, it looks like a kelp spoon. If I were to
Yeah.
say anything,
Yes, that's a better description.
yeah, it looks like a kelp spoon. But when people say it looks like a sky remote, does it look like a sky remote to you? Because to me, it doesn't look anything like it.
I get what they mean because the outline looks slightly like a
Yeah,
like because of the way it's shaped and that it kind of goes in and that I get that, but I prefer your description. A cowpole spoon is perfect. It's that exact shape.
yeah.
Yeah.
I, when I get it, I'll take a picture of it next to the coal pole. Um,
Yeah.
um, I think I don't think Shooty was getting annoyed with all the people saying it about it, but I feel like he just found it really funny.
Yeah.
Because the amount of like radio stations he went on there asking him about it,
Yeah.
and saying, oh, and then he put something on his story. It's not a remote. He literally says it's not a remote. I'm telling you, but it's unique. It's different. It's different. Um, like we didn't get it. We don't know where it's from either. That one, I don't think they. We just saw it like we did the 14th. Um,
Yeah.
so that's the only thing I say. But I guess they do that for time's sake, and they takes probably another 5 6 minutes out of the episode just to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Mm.
Um, but what do you think of it? Do you like it?
I'm still 50-50 on it. I need time with that one to get used to it. I think once I see it in action a bit more, then I'll come around to it. But I I'd definitely say it's not my favorite design. I really that my favorite screwdriver that I've seen is probably Matt Smith's.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
It is. I I do like that one. It's the most alien-y one, really, isn't it?
yeah, hmm
Um, like the easiest one maybe to take. Well, it could be that now, but like the 10th, 9th and 10th one is
yeah,
pretty easy.
hmm
Um, I like my least favorite is actually the 13th Doctor, so I don't really like that one.
yeah. That one, yeah, it was okay. I'd probably still prefer that to the 15th one so far.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I just hope that we kind of see because I one thing I noticed, especially with the 13th Doctor, and often at times in the 60th anniversary as well, is that the Sonic was used a lot, apart from like Wild Blue Yonder. Um, there was a lot of use of the Sonic, and it often advanced the plot quite quickly. I'm kind of hoping that maybe there's not so much of a reliance on the Sonic.
yeah. I mean, 13th Doctor used it like a Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
literally the way she's pointing it, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I like the Sonic. I
Yeah.
mean, but you don't need it for everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it is good though. I like each Doctor has their own. Um,
Yeah.
12th Doctor had his own, but didn't really use it that much.
And he had the sunglasses as well.
Yeah, and then you got all these people hunting for sunglasses online. It's like you don't need to do that. They look the same than any
Yeah.
other sunglasses.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't make any noise. I mean,
Yeah.
but I think the merchandise side of things will improve now.
Yeah.
I
What
mean,
about the glove? The was it like the anti
glove.
yeah, the
Yeah,
anti-gravity or
yeah,
Mavic glove? Yeah.
yeah. I did a few things with that, and I've just got a glove. Just
Yeah.
got just glove out at the wardrobe,
Yeah.
out the TARDIS.
hmm
Um, but yeah, because it looked like it's the glove he was wearing had like dots on it, so I tried to get that as well.
Yeah, that little light up. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Mm.
but he said that I knew that was happening before the episode because he said it on a radio station. He wasn't supposed to, but he told everyone that there's going to be like
Yeah.
glove.
Yeah, I remember hearing that while I was at work actually. And me and like there's half of our office are big Doctor Who fans, and we all looked at each other and we were like, "What?" Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking of some more alien-y. I didn't think it was just going to be a glove. I thought it's going to look a bit different, but
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's literally just a glove.
yeah, literally, yeah. Um, but do you have a favourite Doctor outfit, like 15th Doctor outfit that you've seen so far?
Oh, out of all the ones I've seen,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I liked Matt Smith's second outfit. The one like yeah, when he was with Clara. I
Oh yeah.
liked I liked that outfit.
Purple one.
Yeah, I like the 14th Doctor's outfit. Um, and I would say I love the leather jacket, like the Ninth Doctor.
Mm.
I do like a sort of it's something I've been thinking about getting for a while, that kind of style. And I'm wondering if hopefully, I mean, we saw Shooty with the leather jacket and a kilt. I wonder if we're going to get more of maybe a like black leather jacket.
Yeah, yeah.
See, black's my favorite color. So I'm hoping that we can get something like that, maybe a bit more.
Is that your favourite kind of outfit that he wore then? Like the one with the kilt and the jacket?
I would say that my favorite outfit that he's worn so far is his like normal one with the brown coat, that colorful shirt in the middle.
Oh yeah.
and like the blue trousers. But my understanding with Shooty is that we're going to see him wearing a lot of different outfits.
Yeah.
Um, he's not going to be one of these doctors who will have like one or two outfits most. It seems that in each episode he's going to be wearing something different. So that's going to be quite interesting to see. Um, so yeah, I'll probably have a new favorite by the time we get to the end of the next series.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
know, like after the Church on Ruby Road, we saw a teaser for next episode. And he's just wearing a top. And that top is he hasn't worn that yet. Um,
Yeah.
and there's nowhere to be seen online. So, um, I think that was a custom made one. But yeah, like he will wear a leather jacket again. Because he's gonna wear it. I think for the season finale. Um, for the
Okay. That's
uh,
good.
if I'm right, because I remember when he meets not Mel. When he meets Mel, they're on the motorbike. He's wearing his leather jacket and
Yeah.
his white top. So I don't know if that's the same jacket that he wore on Church of Ruby Road,
Hmm.
but it's very similar.
Mm. Yeah, that'll be interesting. And if you're a cosplayer, then you're gonna love this series, aren't you? Because you're gonna get so many options
Yeah,
to choose from. Yeah.
it's gonna be hilarious at conventions. You got all these 15th Doctor cosplayers wearing all different costumes.
It's from this episode. Oh, and you're wearing
Yeah,
the one from that episode. Yeah.
yeah. And then you go out to shoot. You say to him, "Do you remember what episode this was from?" I was like,
That will be interesting. If Shooty comes to a convention anytime soon after the new series airs and that happens, oh, someone's got to try that.
yeah. If I get the opportunity, I'll say that to him. I'll say,
Yeah,
and surely he's got to have a favourite costume that he likes.
he must
Um,
do. He
um,
must.
because they've got the new in the new series. He's got this blue jacket and some tie. Um, it's not my favourite outfit I've seen him in, but it's a
Hmm.
different one. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a different one. I mean, I would like to see him in. Like, I would like to have like a main outfit that you remember him by as a Doctor. Though
Yeah.
it's good him being all different things because it's never been
Mhm.
done before. But I would like to think because the orange one, the orange shirt,
Yeah.
um, that was the one he got announced in. Um,
Yeah.
that one,
I liked that. Yeah.
yeah. And I was a bit disappointed in the Church and Ruby Ride when we only saw it for like a minute or just a glimpse.
Hmm.
Um, and I think we will see that again. Like
Oh, yeah.
we'll definitely see that again because I've got that outfit, um, but yeah, it'd be nice to see it again. But I think it's going to be interesting to see all these different things he does.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Um, but do you have an overall favorite Doctor that is your favorite at the moment?
Favorite Doctor?
Yeah.
I think on the basis that I grew up with this Doctor and he's probably been my favorite ever since. It's gonna have to be 10. It's gonna have to be David Tennant. Although what I will say, and I've heard a lot of people say this, is that if the 14th Doctor had a bit more time, that would probably take over because I love the way that David Tennant came back into Doctor Who, but it wasn't like he was coming back in as 10, like a lot of us maybe thought it would be at first. The 14th Doctor had quite clearly aged and quite clearly experienced a lot more, and I would say was perhaps a bit more matured emotionally. Yeah,
Yeah, he was a bit more open to speaking about
yeah,
things.
certainly.
Um,
What about you?
yeah, I like him too, the
Hmm?
10th Doctor and the 14th Doctor. It's crazy how many only three episodes and you just really like him, and then
Yeah.
you probably won't see him for a while now.
Hmm.
Um, because I say he should have got a series. The 14th Doctor
Yeah.
should have got a series.
Hmm.
Because 3 episodes isn't enough. What they should have done is they could have done two things. They could have done an Easter special earlier in the year. Then they could have done one to air on the anniversary and then one air in December.
Yeah.
They could have done that, or they could have just done a mini series with David Tennant as the Doctor again.
I think
Um,
even the miniseries would have been enough. Um, but then I guess on the flip side as well, you could argue that it's better to end it on a high.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, like with the giggle, I felt like the toy when I saw the first trailer for the 60th anniversary, like the toy
Mhm.
maker, I literally thought the toy maker was going to be in all the specials, not
Yeah,
just the first special. So it would have been more of a 60th anniversary. I felt if he was in all of them. Um, I think. Do you think he'll come back? Like the toy maker will come back during Shooty's series?
I'd be disappointed if he didn't. I can see how I don't think it would be too difficult to bring him back. Um, I think the bigger challenge that they're going to well, I don't know if it'll be a challenge or not, but I can imagine that Neil Patrick Harris was probably quite expensive,
Yeah.
and he's probably going to have quite a heavy schedule. Um, but Neil Patrick Harris as the toy maker was incredible, and I would love to see him back. And like you said, I thought that we were going to get the toy maker across all of the 60th anniversary. I didn't expect it so much in the Star Beast,
No.
but I was certainly expecting them to appear in Wild Blue Yonder at some point,
Yeah.
to then lead into the giggle. I think one episode wasn't enough for him.
Oh.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and I mean, I found it hilarious when Russell T Davies said before, because he put this warning out before the giggle, didn't he? He said that the giggle isn't more than an hour long. It's 1 hour and 1 minute. I mean, I didn't know he was having a joke. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he was saying 1 hour and 1 minute. I know. I'm telling family watching it. It's like he's having a laugh, isn't he? Like he's saying 1 hour and 1 minute. I mean, he's right. He's right,
Yeah.
but it's just funny.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Um, but from that giggle, we got a few things. So we got some unusual woman picking up the tooth. I think it was the tooth of the toy maker. Oh no, it might have been the toy for
Oh,
the master.
gold tooth.
Yeah,
The where he put the master in. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So someone took that away, which is very unusual. Like,
Hmm.
do you have any theories that who you think it might be? Who took that?
Um, well, I do. Well, I have a theory, but a lot of people have commented on it and have probably debunked it, but then I've kind of got a counter which might be able to get around it. I somehow I've got a feeling that maybe it could be the character that Jinx Monsoon is playing. I can see that that's maybe where she might tie into it. That could be an idea of where it can go. Someone commented about the nails that she had, which admittedly I didn't really pay much attention to. Um, but I don't know. I mean, it's quite open. It really could be anyone. I mean, who do you think it could be?
I think it's could be Jinx Monsoon.
Hmm.
Um, but I believe Jinx Monsoon's going to be in the second episode. I think she's in the Beatles episode. I think that's where she comes in.
Ah, okay.
Um, um, but I think I don't know who she is. We don't know who
No.
she is. People say Rani. I'd like to think not. I'd like to think a totally different character entirely. Um,
Mm,
a lot of people have said Kate picking that up, and I think not going to be Kate, is it? I mean,
I,
it might, but I don't know. It's very interesting if it is someone who's not on unit because well, how they get there. Um, um,
that's the other thing because it was right at the almost at the edge of that helipad, wasn't it?
yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, Donna. I mean, she was in unit. You just got to think who wore red nail varnish.
Mm.
You just got to think.
See, that's the type of question I'd be terrible at.
Yeah.
because I don't pay too much attention to those sorts of details, and I
Mm.
probably should.
I mean, people say it's Missy, and I'm like, how can it be Missy? Missy is the master, and they're in that gold tooth. Um,
Yeah.
and then people are like, oh look, it's the master's wife, um, from series 4, who's picking it up again.
Oh wow. That would be some twist if she suddenly came back.
I'll just be laughing. I'll be saying,
Yeah.
how are you there? I mean, I
Yeah. Long
mean,
time no see.
and then we get a thing. I mean, do you think? I don't see the Master being in the next series at all.
No.
I don't see that being mentioned at all. This tooth. I think they're gonna wait until maybe like
Yeah.
the second series or the third for that even to be a thing. Um,
That's yeah. I think he's
yeah,
it's been set up to be something later down the line, maybe towards the end of Shooty's tenure. Yeah.
yeah, I don't see that happening at the moment. Um,
Mhm.
so, but who knows who it is? But another one, the boss. So you've got the boss,
Mhm.
and the one who waits. So the toy maker mentions the one who waits, who he's enormously scared of, and then you've got the boss who beat the meat mentions.
Yeah.
Do you think these two characters are the same, or do you think they're two different characters entirely?
That's an interesting one because when Beat the Meat first mentioned the boss, I was absolutely convinced that the Beat the Meat was talking about the toy maker.
Mm.
That's who I thought that the meat was referring to at first. Now I'm not so sure. I feel like there has, when the toy maker said the one who waits, that screams to me, right, okay, there is a big villain coming up here that we're still yet to meet and probably going to meet in Shooty's era. But then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what sort of villain is the toy maker going to be scared of? Because the toy maker clearly wasn't scared of someone like the Master or whoever else. So this clearly has to be somebody quite powerful.
Yeah,
Um, so it's an interesting one. I mean, I'm sort of torn between I I'm wondering whether it's going to be someone completely new because I'm trying to dig back maybe through past villains to see who this could be. And there's probably only one or two that you can think of that it's possibly going to be. Other than that, yeah, I'm struggling with that one. I think now this boss is the same person as the one who waits.
yeah.
Yeah.
There is so in one of the episodes
Mhm.
have these slug things that you might just briefly see in the mini trailer. Um, so it looks like one of these episodes. I think that might be the same episode. There's going to be an episode that's set in the future, I
Yeah.
believe, in the new series, which I'm really looking forward to this episode. Don't know what one it is, but I think you have this kind of the Legion. Like this is where
Yes.
it's coming in, like the Legion. So you have this like party of the government. That they I can't remember his name, but they announced him. It just reminds me, like Harry Saxon, like is not, it just reminds me of that. But
Yes.
um,
I remember. Yeah.
it just reminds me of that. So this Legion, it looks like you have these mini bosses. Um, so you can have all these mini bosses. So if the one who waits and the boss are two separate people, which they could be the same person, I just think, like you say, the toy maker's petrified. So why would the toy maker be petrified, even though he's
Yeah.
immortal? He's immortal and he can't die. He's in that box, but he's just shut there.
Yeah.
Um, so he obviously is very scared.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really interesting because I don't know who the boss is. I mean, in in the Regency episode, there's gonna be like the Regency episode, where they're all looking posh,
Yeah.
in it. And you've got Jonathan Gross in it as well. So, um,
Mhm.
that's gonna be a really posh episode. Um, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I've no idea who it could be, and I'm leaning more towards the idea that it could be a completely new character.
Yeah.
I just don't. I can't think of one from the past that is that powerful that the toy maker would be scared of.
No,
Yeah.
I mean it's crazy
Mm.
that like all these different storylines uh already coming, and I do know I do feel they all end, which is the problem we've had with past seasons where we still don't know when it's ended. So it's good that there's so much for us to talk about. Who do you think Miss Flood is?
Ah, this is the $1 million question, isn't it? And is she going to be a part of this? Like whoever this
Yeah,
um
she the boss. She got
these
it.
bosses are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um I've heard so many theories about Mrs. Flood. I've heard everything from the Rani. I've even heard River. I've heard like the Doctor's mother. I can,
Susan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't. Again, I I'm leaning more towards it being a new character. The I don't see I don't see who else it could be because presumably all of like the Time Lords that we know of from Gallifrey would have been destroyed, wouldn't they? So I'm sort of looking at it thinking maybe, but then it's highly possible that some of them would have gone elsewhere long before that anyway. But um, or could it be the Rani? I mean, I don't know. If I had to pick an old character, like a returning character, it would probably be the Rani.
Yeah.
That would probably be the most convincing for me. But again, I still think it's somebody who completely new. I I I think that I think Mrs. Flood is going to be one of those characters that will kind of sort of be a character in her own right.
I think we won't see Miss Flood's identity until it depends on what I want to do. So I think this season it's going to be about Millie or like Ruby, and we find out who
Yeah.
Ruby is.
Hmm.
I think that's going to be the purpose of it,
Yeah.
but there will be an overall threat um, of the Legion probably. The Legion will probably be maybe around however long Shooty's around for as the Doctor.
Yeah.
Um, I do think it is a character that's been in the show before, Mrs. Flood. I only
Yeah.
say this because when I think it might be confidential, where Russell was saying it's an old character or something. So I believe him saying
Ah.
that it might be a character, or he might be just twisting it. So because he likes to do that. So I don't know. I would rather it's someone new. I mean, when people
Hmm.
saying it's River and Susan, I think it's I don't know how it can be because that's I understand if they were not here anymore, but they're both here and they can both be in Doctor Who. So, well, it's crazy, but yeah, the Rani is the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Everyone will be going for the Rani, but I don't know. It might be Ruby. I've heard things like it's Ruby's mum. It's Ruby's.
Highly possible.
It is Ruby. People saying it's Ruby as an
Mm.
older and the Watcher and stuff. So. Could be anyone.
Yeah. And I'm kind of hoping that we'll still be able to speculate it in such an open way as time goes on. I mean, like I'm pretty sure obviously as time goes on we'll get more and more clues.
Hmm.
um, as the episodes progress. Because I saw that they released a couple of pictures, didn't they, just recently? And I think Mrs. Flood was there, um,
Yeah.
surrounded. I can't remember who she was with, but she was with others.
Yeah.
And
But uh, people haven't been. I think it's totally different. So it's really interesting that Miss Flood is going to be in the next series.
yeah,
Um, and potentially, I think we don't know anything yet, but who's going to be in it? But I think Ruby might be in a couple of episodes. Um, it's going to be interesting. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be curious to see how Mrs. Flood. I think the Mrs. Flood storyline is going to probably drag a while.
yeah.
Um, a few years, and then we'll see who she is in the end.
Do you
um,
think that that will go on for longer than the whole thing with Missy in series 8, where you went the whole episode of a few little snippets of this lady, and then later finding out that
Yeah, I
she
can see it
wouldn't.
taking at least two series.
Yeah,
Two series. I don't think it will just come in the end because I think that's what happened with Missy. It was about 2 seasons it took. Um, about that time. But I think there's
yeah,
so much to unwrap. Like you've got the boss, you've got the one who waits, you've got the potential toy maker comeback. You've got so many of these storylines. Who
yeah.
Ruby is. So one at a time, or two at a time. Like you
Hmm.
could have Ruby and then maybe the one who waits at the end. Um, but I do think like we're gonna find out more this new season. Uh, they're in.
Hmm.
We should find out more who Ruby is, who the Doctor is maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, I think they relate because they're both adopted. I think they might
yeah,
relate in that sense. I'd like to see Ruby being a Time Lord because that would make much sense to regenerate into a new person. So it could be two Time
yeah,
Lords running away together, which would be lovely to see. I think that would
yeah.
be really good. But I don't know. There's so many stuff. Like the last, like with the future of the Doctor, we never
Hmm.
found out properly who that was,
Yeah,
and we don't want to have that like mistake again. I like I like when Russell writes because he finishes the story. He finishes the
yeah,
story. He doesn't leave it.
yeah,
Um, like with the Flux, I like the little mentions that we had in the 60s for that, um,
yeah.
because you're not forgetting what's happened, and the Doctor's
That,
still affected by it.
that's it. I mean, I'd be quite surprised if Russell sort of goes a bit deeper into the whole timeless child thing. But I think very similar, like we got in the 60th, there's going to be a lot of callbacks to it. There's going to be a lot of there it will be talked about a bit. But again, I don't see him sort of closing that off. He might sort of add a few bits into it, but I think that that could be one of those things that is left very open-ended because then it keeps the mystery about his character, the
Mm.
Doctor's character. Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting about the Beatles because the Beatles are going to be in it in the new series. It's gonna be interesting in what involvement that do they have.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
because why have the I know they're in the 1960s, but why have the Beatles in it? Um, like, is it
Mm.
just for a musical number, or they could have some involvement in like the villains, or are they the villains? So I don't know. It's uh, that is one of the ones I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm
Mm.
looking forward to it all, but
Yeah. Me too.
I mean, I just, do you think they'll? Obviously, we don't know, but do you think the episodes will be an hour each?
I th Yeah, I think they will. Well, yeah, 55 minutes an hour. I'd be disappointed if it was anything less because am I correct in thinking that each that shooty series, isn't it going to be like around about, isn't it like 8 episodes long, something like that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah,
So I think it's going to need to be an hour long for it to be enough.
yeah. In a way, I'm a bit disappointed that we don't get the 13 back, but it's a lot different now to back in the early 2000s. Like they've got
Yeah.
a bigger budget, and I guess a lot of money is spent back then for how many episodes.
Mm.
So I think 8 is always enough. I mean, it weren't for
Yeah.
Flux. It weren't for Flux because it just
Yeah.
I didn't think it worked. But although that was one of Jodie's best seasons,
Yeah.
um, but 8 is enough. And I think it's gonna be interesting when the spin-offs start. Like this Sea Devil one is rumored. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
quite random, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I certainly didn't expect the Sea Devils to get a spin-off, but that will be quite interesting.
yeah,
I mean, it's not been that long since we last saw the Sea Devils. We
yeah,
had what was it called? Legend of the Sea Devils.
yeah,
We had
yeah,
episodes not so long ago, did we? Um, but that will be it'll be interesting. But I think that we're heading into an era where there is going to be a lot more spin-offs than perhaps we've got used to recently.
yeah. So
Yeah.
So, like at this moment in time, we don't know what the date is. I presume at the start of May. So, like I said at
Mm.
the start, to anyone listening and watching, we haven't seen the episodes yet. We're talking as two people who haven't seen the first one. So, as this is out, the first episode might already be out yet. It's just dependent. It's just dependent. There's rumours that it's May 4th is out. We don't know,
Oh,
but
really? Okay. Yeah.
which would be quite interesting because that is Star Wars Day. um, but yeah. So 8 episodes. You think it's not a lot, but it is in compared to time. So that goes. So let's say it starts in May.
Mhm.
We only have like, was it 3, 4 weeks in a month?
Yeah.
Um,
So we're
so
looking at around end of June, aren't we? For
yeah, so around end of
more or less.
June it should
Yeah.
finish.
Mhm.
Um, or potentially July, depending on when in May it starts.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just presuming it's at the start of May.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you would think that. Um, Originally, I don't know if you've sort of heard, but originally it was supposed to air in January. The
Really?
series, yeah,
Okay.
the series was supposed to air in January, but they wanted to delay it to May because they wanted to make everything right and make it proper. So
Yeah.
just in case. Um, so I mean, May's a good month. I always think May is a good month to air the series of Doctor Who.
Yeah. I've always preferred it when Doctor Who is aired in the spring.
Yeah.
It is the right time for it, and it's nice because 9 times out of 10 you get a Christmas special every year as well. So it's a nice balanced way of doing it. You're not waiting too long for the next episode. I didn't like that phase that we once had not so long ago, where often you would go over a year without a single episode. That, yeah, so I'm glad that it seems that under Russell C Davis again that those days are over.
No, but do you remember that? I think it might have been the one with Captain Jack in it. Do you remember that one?
Yes, yeah,
Like I think it was the Christmas episode. That was recorded 2 years before it was out.
it's crazy.
I mean, I was laughing, and then I think we even waited a year. I think it happened with Peter Capaldi as well. Like
Yep,
when they did like two Christmas specials in a row without an episode of a series.
yeah.
Which it's It shouldn't be that way. We should get at least a series. Like, do you remember with I think it might have been Flux where they wait till Halloween to air Flux, and
Yeah.
that went like 2 weeks just before Christmas. And I think you shouldn't air Doctor Who in December, unless it's like just now is all right because it
Mm,
went with the 60th. But if you're just airing a random series with no, you might want an episode on Halloween, but
yeah.
I
It
still
was
think,
quite an odd time. And
yeah,
I don't think there was any. I mean, I know that they had, because I think they had a bit of a setback, didn't they, with COVID in terms of filming it and stuff like that. So I don't know if that was their original intention or not. But I do seem to remember quite vividly. Um, Swarm made that little trick or treat reference, didn't they, in the Halloween apocalypse? Yeah,
trick or treat.
trick or treat,
Yeah,
Doctor.
yeah, I still don't know who Swarm is.
Yeah.
Because the annoying thing I found is that they said they knew the Doctor they met before, and I said to
Mm.
myself, where? And then the watch
Yeah,
goes down the TARDIS, and we're not seeing it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? Those creatures, what were they called? The Ravagers.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I wonder if that's going to be a character. They're going to be characters we see again, like maybe not necessarily in Ncuti's era, but maybe whoever the next Doctor is after that. Because I think if they had such a significant role in the Doctor's past, it would be nice for that to not be their only appearance.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many series do you think Shooty will do? Do you think?
Hmm. Interesting. Right. Well, they're half. Am I correct? Am I correct in thinking they've started filming the series? Well, series 15 slash series 2 in it.
Yeah, yeah, they've
Um,
started doing that.
they've started doing that already. Um, so he's definitely going to do at least another then, surely. So we're going to get the minimum requirement, or unofficial minimum requirement of three. Um,
Yeah,
whether he does a fourth,
I hope so.
I hope he does. I for I want a doctor to stick around for a bit longer this time. Um, I feel like after three, it's almost getting a bit too. You don't tend to get. I want to sort of get a bit more attached to a doctor. I think if having him for at least maybe one more to have four
Yeah,
seasons would be good. Um, I don't think he's going to do it though. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear once Russell T Davies starts writing the next series three. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that a regeneration story is coming. And
yeah.
that's going to be quite weird to hear
Hmm.
so early on because of how far ahead that they've jumped. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope not, but I would actually be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Shoot only done two series
Ah, okay.
because he's a popular actor. He
Hmm.
was popular before. He's even popular now. He's more
Yeah.
popular than probably most Doctor Who actors who's played the
Yeah.
Doctor. And he's been in Barbie's bit, like he's so popular.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he left at
Mm.
the end of the series. I don't think he will though. I think he will at least do three. But
Yeah.
what makes me think he might do four is because
Hmm.
Russell T Davies did say, I think it was in his documentary done, he said that I've already got ideas for series four. Um, I've
Okay.
already got ideas for series four. I don't know if that's with Shoot or without, but why would you say you've got ideas? Um, well, he definitely does have ideas, but why would you say it and not while having to shoot at the doctor? So I don't think he would say that if he was preparing another actor. Um, but yeah, I do think soon, like maybe next two or so years, maybe even next year, we might get the announcement of the regeneration, which would
Yeah.
be a shock. Um, but I do think they will have a break. The shoot will have a break from recording Doctor Who for a little while because it's so far in advance. Um,
That's it. Yeah.
um, like maybe towards the end of next year, they might start filming series three. Um, like they've already filmed this year's Christmas special um,
Yeah.
already, um, and that's with they've got a guest star in that, so Ruby won't be in that one, but um, and then I think she might be a bit like Donna, so she might be the overall companion later on. Um, but
Maybe.
but it's really interesting to see what's going to happen because we don't know. But I like having the Christmas specials because the New Year's ones weren't the same. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I think Doctor Who, having Doctor Who at Christmas was always good to have. I did find it quite strange for those few years not having Doctor Who on Christmas Day because Doctor Who is one of those TV series it it fits in quite well. It's a family friendly show. It's on the day when families tend to get together. It's the right time to watch it. So yeah, New Year's Day I always found a bit strange. I didn't mind it so much when it was the start of the new series, when we had Spyfall. Um, that was okay. I didn't mind that, but when you had those one-off episodes, like you had Eve of the Daleks, you had Resolution and Revolution of the Daleks, which was an episode I liked, but um,
they're all
yeah.
Daleks. I know they're all Daleks.
All the Dalek story. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
quite strange, wasn't it? How all of like Resolution and Revolution of the Daleks was basically a two-parter Christmas special. Yeah.
I mean, I felt the ideas in the names weren't hard because you got resolution and revolution just sound the same, just rhyme it.
Yeah.
So I felt maybe I think they weren't they like weren't they together? So Wasn't it Resolution, then Revolution, then the Eve of the Daleks?
Yes, yeah. So resolution, you had resolution, and from the way that the story was written, it sounds like Revolution of the Daleks was set almost immediately after the events of Resolution,
Yeah.
and then Eve of the Daleks was after Flux. So yeah,
I wasn't a fan. Well, I wasn't a fan of the last one purely for the reason because I just got too dizzy watching it, like going around in
yeah.
circles with the Daleks.
I
Uh,
do like time loop episodes, but yeah, that one was a bit
just the same as the whole.
fast. Yeah.
It was the same, isn't it? Like the whole episode. But I was hoping for a non-Dalek New Year's episode, but
Hmm.
we just got Daleks, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I do expect them to be in Shooty's new series, but I don't see them being as used as much as we have seen them for like lots of years.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm not sure I can see them being in series one. Um, but certainly I'd be surprised if they don't start to bring them in after that series two going into series three.
There's going to be a Dalek finale. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
Dalek finales. I mean, we've had so many Dalek finales, I think. Um, by series one and two, the Dalek finales.
Hmm.
Series three isn't. Series three is the Master.
Yeah.
Series four is the Master. Series five, well, they had a break for the Master for a little while with Matt Smith. So series five was the Pandorica.
Hmm.
Series six, I can't actually remember series six. Um,
Series six was you had the silence, didn't you?
yeah,
And then you had that event where River, being the impossible astronaut, kills the Doctor in that Tesselector. Um,
yeah.
so the Doctor was sort of dead but not, and yeah,
You had the
yeah,
silence. Yeah, you had all these sort of ones.
yeah.
Was you a fan of? I think it might have been Series 7, where they had a split series. So they did 1 year, half of the series, and the second half was the next year. Like, what did you think of that?
Got to be honest, I was never a fan of the split series. I would almost have rather, especially more so with Series 7, because I feel like Series 7 Part 1 and Series 7 Part 2 were almost completely separate, I felt. You
Yeah,
had Series 7 with Amy and Rory, Part 1, I mean, and then you had Part 2, which was introducing Clara and leading up to the 50th anniversary special. They were almost separate
yeah,
seasons in their own right. Whereas with Series 6, when you had the split, it was just a two part of the same series. The
that's
part two
right.
immediately followed
Yeah,
the events of part one. Um, they could have renamed Series 7 Part 2 as Series 8 and it would have passed. It would have, they would have got away with it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of the split series, although it did mean that we got like Doctor Who a bit more frequently throughout the year because you had it in the
mm,
spring and then again in the autumn.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. It weren't the best, but I guess they done it because Amy give time people the hero over Amy and Rory dying, and then you've
yeah,
got Clara. I mean, I don't think Clara wasn't in enough of Matt Smith's series. Sometimes I do feel they maybe have the companion too long. Um,
yeah.
so like I think Clara was there way too long with Peter Capaldi. Rose left just at the right time. Um, Amy and Rory were there a bit too long. Um, very long, really.
Mm,
And then Bill too short. She was
definitely.
she was.
Yeah,
I think Thanks Doctor would have loved Bill. Would have been great.
that would
Um,
it. It would have been a great companion for the 13th Doctor.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, too long. Um, yeah, it's too long. Graham too short. I'd say.
yeah.
Um,
You like Graham as a
uh,
companion?
I liked him. I just felt they didn't need. I didn't think it was necessary to be in Doctor Who. I don't think any the
Yeah,
comedian, all these comedians like you had, what's his name, Dan, and then you had Graham. I didn't think they were necessary. I think they would have
Yeah,
been necessary as a special, like maybe like an Easter special, like they done with
yeah.
what's his name? I forgot his name, but you know the Easter special with David Tennant. They had what's his name? He played the scientist, and he was a comedian. Um,
Oh, Lee Evans.
yeah, yeah, him. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know. I thought he was just an actor, but he weren't. He's a comedian. Um, but yeah, he was good. He was
Yeah,
good.
he was brilliant.
He was good. So I feel like those type of characters were for a special. Like with Ryan, I felt I don't know. I think he maybe left at the right time. He left at the right
Yeah.
time. He left at the right time because he was just there, wasn't he?
Mm.
Um, he was just there on his little lonesome.
Yeah. But I'm the same with that. It's although it was having I remember when they announced that Bradley Walsh was going to be in Doctor Who, and I just remember thinking like that's surely got to be some sort of stunt. Yeah, like people who watch who watch The Chase are then going to start watching Doctor Who. But
No, I'll
I,
tell you
I
something funny.
yeah,
Did you hear about some person that went on the chase and said they're a big fan of him because they watched him in Doctor Who?
I
It-
haven't seen that, no,
Well,
but it wouldn't surprise me if
yeah.
that started happening.
But what was so funny was they went on and the chaser was at the top and he couldn't stop laughing. Where he said, "I watched you in the recent series of Doctor Who," and Bradley Walsh was like, "That's awesome. I hope you liked it." And it's like, well, "No, I didn't like the series. It was terrible." Uh, and then
No, no way.
he was speechless. He was, and then you got
Oh,
like the chaser laughing, which he wasn't wrong, but I think he's like he said, You're my favorite character." But like there are certain episodes though are good, like Spyfall, like
yeah.
the Future of the Dune when Captain Jack thought Graham was the Doctor, which was hilarious.
Hmm.
Um, and then you've got like the Future of the Dune was good. Sontar and Weeping Angel. Like I think all the Weeping Angels episodes in Doctor Who are good. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, yeah, I just feel like some companions were there too long and some were there too short.
yeah.
Um,
I felt like Graham could have quite easily have just been like you were saying, like a special, like a one episode companion. I think Yaz, although she was there a while, I think that the Doctor and Yaz would have been enough.
mm,
I think that I wasn't the biggest fan of the idea that there was almost a group of companions. Um, I like, I don't mind like if maybe like two came along, like how you had Amy and you had Rory. But I think the fact that it was the Doctor plus like three others, that was a little bit, yeah, I couldn't get used to that.
yeah, I agree. Unless it was like a special episode or a season finale or
Yeah.
something. Um, and I think I would have thought Ryan would have got asked to come back for Power of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And maybe Dan. Well, Dan was in it, but like Graham was in it, so
Hmm.
it's interesting. Like I think that was probably one of the best episodes, not just because David Tennant was at the end, but
Yeah.
which I predicted before. But
Yeah.
I do think it was a good episode. Good episode. A lot of people in it.
Mm.
Longer than all the 60th anniversary specials. Um, I think the longest episode that even beats like End of Time. I think that was like just what, an hour and 15 minutes that was, and
I was gonna say, I think that was well over an hour at the end of
yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but last few things, James. Do you have a favorite season finale? At all?
Favorite season finale. Oh, I've got two in mind.
Mm,
Um, and it's going to be hard to narrow this down. Journey's End has to be one of them,
yeah.
and I really like Last of the Time Lords. I loved the Master in series three. Um, but I've got to go with Journey's End. I think that's going to be a very difficult one to beat.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah,
The Subwave Network and everything.
yeah,
Um,
and bringing all those companions back together that you got to know progressively over a long period of time. I loved the the Daleks in that episode. I like them bringing Davros into the equation.
yeah,
Yeah, that was, I'd say that as a series finale. I mean, like if we excluding like the end of time, like if we actually go for the series finales, I think that was probably my favorite.
yeah, that was a good one. Um, like they're both similar in a way because they're all saying goodbye, kind
Yeah.
of. Even though they're both awesome. I mean,
Mm,
I'm probably the same. They're probably my two favorites. Um, because eh, that's good. Like I think they had the best season finales. Um, and funnily enough, I think Jodie Whittaker's had the most episodes or most time on screen as the Doctor.
yeah.
Which is crazy considering. Um, yeah. But yeah, it's funny. Like you have all these doctors, and then yeah, this hopefully then the next series is going to be as good as the expectations. Hopefully,
Yeah. I trust in Russell that he's going to cook something very, very special. And I think I'm glad that although now we're sort of entering a very different era of Doctor Who, we're almost getting a hard reset on the show. I'm kind of glad that it's Russell that is the guy that's leading it because like we've seen him revive the show before and he worked wonders with it. So I'm very optimistic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, mine too. Last thing, James.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite or quote that you relate to in Doctor Who?
Um, I do keep thinking about one of Matt Smith's quotes before he regenerated.
Yeah,
It's something that does sort of stick to me a lot, and it's something that I play in my head a lot um, at different points in my life, um, especially when we're going through change and we or maybe a period of turbulence or anything like that. And I think the quote when I think he said, "We all change when we think about it. We're all different people all throughout our lives." And it's so true. If I look back on who I was 2, 3 years ago, I would never have thought that I'd be doing the things that I'm doing now. Um, and it is true. We evolve, we change, we develop new interests, we meet new people, and yeah, it is something that has kind of stuck with me.
yeah,
What about you?
that's a good quote. Yeah, I like that one. I like I like Pete Capaldi's one about being kind. Um,
Yeah,
that one always sticks with me. Um, and the one you said as well, I like real stories in the end. That one. I like the. I think it's like Angels Take Manhattan when he's sitting with Amy and saying like he's not running away. Um, like
yeah,
that's a really good one. I like that one because he's just talking about what like he's not scared. If it's coming to him, whatever's coming to him, he's just gonna let it come and not worry about it running away because people think he runs away, but he just runs because the Doctor needs to run to save like whatever threat or world or universe. So I like that one.
yeah,
That one's good, and I like the music. The music in that like little small scene, is amazing, and like the music of Doctor Who is great. Um,
yeah.
Like I could just listen to a theme like all day if I wanted to. I think,
Yeah, definitely. Big time.
yeah, and I'm glad Murray Gold's back. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. I love what he's done with the 15th Doctor's theme.
yeah, I love that. I mean, I just I've got an idea for a future video. When I get enough, at the moment I've got probably two, potentially three. So I've got about three costumes. So what I want to do is I want to have the theme, and I'm just gonna be like running, and then
Mhm.
just in the same video, it's like I've changed costumes. So I'll be on this one, and I'll be running into the next one, then running into the next one because he'll have so many. Um, that's the future kind of video I want to do at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just visualized so that you then transition into like
Yeah.
the other costumes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe we'll start off like we might start off with the like the first one they wore on Ruby Road, then the orange one, then the one with him, he's wearing a kilt with the leather
Hmm.
jacket, then the one he's also wearing the kilt with a white top, um, and then he's got this other top, and then he's got the 1960s version, um, which is good. So you've got all these different costumes, which will be funny. I think once um d- it's just dependent. I think every episode's going to be different. It's great. I just think that'll be funny because no, you can't really do that with any of the Doctors because they only have maybe about two or three of them.
Mm. Yeah, that's
Um,
it.
and
Yeah,
the
at least
and the
yeah, with this one
theme's
you're gonna
long.
get a lot.
Yeah, and 15th Doctor's theme's quite long, so you can do it a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, but I always like to keep it under a minute. Just because people don't like to watch more than a minute sometimes. But yeah, just dependent. But yeah, well, James, thank you for coming on the podcast today. Hope you enjoyed it.
No worries. Well, thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, it's been great talking to you.
yeah. It's always good about talk. It's always good to talk about Doctor Who. Um, and hopefully we'll be pleased by the time it's aired and well, the series is finished. Which
Absolutely.
I always don't like. I like watching it, but when it ends, just think, here we go, another few
Yeah.
months, Christmas special coming.
Yeah. You know, when you've got like 2 episodes to go and you know that it's ending soon, you're just like, no, don't end.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like that. But to anyone listening and watching, we hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Um, watch the next episode, whenever that might be. It'll probably be next week, to be honest. But I haven't recorded that yet. But by the time it's out, this episode's out, I would have recorded it. So that's how time travel works. Um,
Timey wimey.
but yeah, but expect to anyone listening, watching, expect maybe a few more Doctor Who episodes this month. You'll have an IBD special for inflammatory bowel disease day, and then you will have a mental health episode. Mental health awakening will return for an episode. Normally we've done a series for the last 2 years. We've done a series during May, but we haven't this year for the pure reason because we're gonna have a little break for doing that. But I think one episode is more than enough. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed this episode. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the new series of Doctor Who. James,
You too, my friend. You take care.
take care.